Hytale is probably one of the biggest game launches we'll see this year, with over 2 million players in just the first week. This is not my usual type of game, but I really wanted to review it, and honestly I've had a lot of fun in the past week while playing it. In case you are one of the few hundred people who have seen my other reviews, I want to introduce a new aspect to these videos: a tier list. I will place each criteria that I choose to rank this game on into one of the tiers, and then at the end, I'll place the whole game in a tier based on the average. I'm hoping that by the end of 2026 we have a giant tier list that I can then milk for content that we can review and discuss. Anyways, let's get to it. I'll start with the character creation, as is the first thing you do when you log in, and it's pretty cool. You have quite a variety of choices and you can really make your character your own. I had a little trouble matching some of the colors, but overall I'd give it a solid A. Not bad for a game made of cubes. In terms of graphics and the world building, I don't have any complaints. In fact, I'm a bit blown away by how smooth the game ran overall. While playing on high settings with my mid-range setup, I had no issues or lag to speak of. That's actually quite impressive given the massive landscapes you have to traverse and the huge amount of sprites actually in the world. The game feels much more alive than most other games, and there is a huge variety of plants, animals, and enemies to discover in each biome. You might say I'm glazing, but I'll give it an S tier. Keep in mind, I'm not rating the art style in this, as that is subjective. I'm not really a cube game type of guy myself, but really most games feel empty compared to Hytale, and they don't run as smooth. And if anything, I'd like to see even more mob density. Let's move on to building, and for this I have to compare Hytale with Minecraft. It's just a golden standard, isn't it? I'll just say this, the building and crafting in Hytale are way simpler. Just the fact that there's no redstone in the base game means that you're really not able to build those massive automations and farmers and whatever crazy stuff people do over there. I'm not much of a builder, as you can see, so I don't really mind that. Of course, there are already mods that add redstone and expand the building aspects of this game and so on, but I want to focus on the base game. I'll keep mods as a totally separate category just to keep it fair. It does seem like Simon from Hypixel wants to build a totally new automation system, so I am curious to see how it turns out. So with that, I would put the building in B tier.
Okay.
It definitely feels easy to build in this game, but I just wish we had more options. Next on the list, we have crafting and progression. I put them together as they are kind of complementary. The crafting system itself is a bit more limited than in Minecraft. You've got tools, weapons, armor, and a few other things you would also find in similar games, and you can repair your equipment so you don't have to farm that much. Don't get me wrong, I like the fact that you can max out your character in just a few hours of farming in each area. One critique though. We don't have any talents or skills or any ways of investing into a certain playstyle, and once you've crafted your adamantite gear and tools, you're pretty much done with everything. With all that, the game didn't feel grindy almost at all, so that's a big plus. Overall, I will place crafting and progression in the B tier, but keep in mind, I'm only talking about the game as it is today. I would have honestly liked to see more gearing options. Like maybe certain gear pieces that made us stronger against an enemy type, or something that makes us resistant to lava, which is then needed in some area where the whole floor is lava. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I think this is a perfect time to talk about the combat, and in my opinion, it's just a bit too easy. I know, controversial, right? Here's the thing, if you just try to go in with melee, you can have a hard time. But you can just build up a tower of about 3-4 blocks and nothing can reach you. So if you're in danger, you can just stand in between the enemies and shoot them while recovering your HP. I'm sure boss fights will be more challenging, but those don't seem to be in the game yet. I also discovered a cool technique with the sword. If you time your charge attacks right, you can dodge enemies' attacks and never take damage. So let's cue up the montage. Well, that woke you up, didn't it? Anyways, on to the tier list. The tryhard in me wants to give combat a C, but I'll place it in B instead. I can't deny that it's fun, but it's just so hard not to abuse ranged when it's so effective and safe. Next, let's talk about exploration. This is definitely one of the highlights in the game at the moment. There are so many biomes to explore, and it feels like each new area is worth checking out, as it may have new enemies and resources to discover. Going through the caves is also pretty fun, and it's worth checking them out not only for the resources, but also because there are whole new biomes and enemies below. In each biome, you can find settlements to loot, which can have chests with unique gear and useful materials. My only critique is that the loot from settlement chests kind of drops off, especially after you get your adamantite gear. The only upgrade I found later on is this crossbow, but that's because you can only craft the iron version at the blacksmith. With all that, exploration goes into the A tier. I would put it in S just due to how fun it is at the start and how massive the world is, but I feel like the game could be better if we had some big bosses to fight in certain areas, and if the random loot would be more relevant in the late game. Again, I saw that the devs are looking to expand on these things in the future, so we could see some major updates soon that make this aspect even better. We have a few more things to talk about, but if you made it this far, I just want to thank you for being here. I'm kinda new to this YouTube thing, and you taking your time to watch this video helps me a lot, and it will give me more reason to come up with more videos in the future. Coming back, we only have 2 categories to go, and I want to talk about modding next. I truly believe this is both the game's biggest strength and the hardest thing to judge. I'll start with this. Just a week after launch, there were already thousands of mods made for the game. I also understood that it is way easier to mod for Hytale than it is for Minecraft, and that this game is essentially created with modding in mind. I'm sure that in a few months, there will already be some crazy Hytale servers running several mods that create a completely new and unique experience. So the only reasonable thing to do is to place modding in S tier, no doubt. In case you are wondering, the emotes I've been doing in this video are actually from this mod. And last but not least, I'd like to talk about the community of this game. Hytale kinda reminds me of the story of Nostalrius in classic WoW in a sense, but instead of the big gaming company sweeping in and eating them up, the people at Hypixel managed to buy back their game and make it their own again. But without a large and dedicated community, all that effort could have been for nothing. It sounds almost crazy that the game was kept in development hell for 7 years, and somehow over 1 million players jumped in on the first day of the early access launch. A game nowadays kind of needs a community to thrive, and if anything, Hytale's community proved that they are in it for the journey, not the destination. S tier for sure. Looking at our tier list, it is clear that this game has huge potential and at its core delivers a fun experience. So for me, Hytale is in A tier. Why A tier? Well, if you just play the game by yourself and without mods, it's not that crazy compared to other games. But I don't think that is the idea behind this game. Hytale is probably at its best when you play with your friends on a server with some cool mods, and you guys just craft your own experience. Because why are we playing games if not to have fun and connect with each other? Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, you are absolutely amazing. And since I'm pretty new to this YouTube thing, I'd like to know if you enjoyed the video or if it sucked. Any feedback is super useful. See you in the next video.